see, guys. Group sizes. Ashes Creation is designed for solo players as well as large and small groups. The party size is 8 players for a single group. So they went Final Fantasy on that one. Raids will have 40-man groups. That's World of Warcraft there for you. Content will be tailored for 40, 60, and 8-person group sizes. Arenas will have 1-man, 3-man, 5-man, and possibly 20-man free-for-all deathmatch group sizes. That's pretty cool. There won't specifically be guild versus guild arenas, but team-based matchmaking allows teams to face other teams. Castle sieges are expected to have a minimum of 250 times 250 players. They are trying to get that up to 500 versus 500 players. And actually it talks about that. To be on a single battlefield with the possibility of increasing this to 500 and 500 over time. The idea behind an 8-person is to allow us to really amplify party roles and to create a need for each of the archetypes in every party. Content isn't locked behind guilds. That's good. Mechanics exist with larger conflicts for small groups and even solo players to impact the battle. This includes systems that will likely focus on single group sized participants while the larger battle is occurring. And then we're good on Apocalypse. Let's see here. Loot tables. Monsters drop hunting certificates, items, and crafting materials rather than gold. So that's good. Hunting certificates is a term that covers items such as pelts that house the value of a mob's death. These certificates are specific to an economic region. A wolf is not going to be carrying a sack of gold. It may instead drop pelts that can be traded for gold. So that's cool. They're kind of like
that makes sense.
Right. Now I hope that if they're like, go kill 5, boars for their eyes, and no eyes drop. Hopefully they all have eyes. That's always so annoying in World of Warcraft. Go kill 10 boars for eyes, and you kill them, and you kill them. It's like
4 hours later.
You're like, man, this is a lot of like blind boars. Hunting certificates will also drop on a character's death. Hunting certificate can be traded with hunter NPCs within nodes. The level of the node and the distance of the node from the drop will determine the value of the certificate. Certificates redeemed from distant economic regions via the caravan system will provide higher returns, 4 to 5 times greater in some cases, than certificates collected from the same region. The value of the certificates are also calculated by the World Manager algorithm, which I was talking about earlier. That's like, it's going to be like the mainframe and like Tron, practically. Based on the volume of certificates being redeemed in each region. Hunting certificates can also be stored within node warehouses. So, I mean, that's actually kind of cool that they give you certificates, right? Because you could technically collect certificates. Hopefully they don't have like an expiration on them. But it's like, instead of you're loading yourself up with like 1,000 pelts, you just get certificates and then you go and use them as you need, right? So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Loot tables of world bosses and dungeon bosses have a small RNG chance of dropping gear, completed items. There is much higher chance that materials and unique recipes are dropped that can be used to craft items of equitable value. And to speak to that, so you're going to have really good gear that drops from bosses, but you're also going to have just as good gear, if not better, like the gear, the crafted gear and the world gear that drops are going to be practically dancing around the same level of quality. And I think they're even kind of talking about that crafted items can actually, if you could actually tell Missy if she's going to craft like a chess piece for you, you could tell her what type of, you want haste and crit on there, which means, well, haste, so she has to add these feathers, and then crit, she adds these claws, and she could just craft that gear that you want that fits your needs. And they said, like, I think they're really going after the fact to keep the economy going, that your gear, you don't have to kill bosses to get the best gear. You could also craft it. But you will have to kill that boss for that item to make that gear piece. So, let's see. There is much higher chance, we already said about that, craft items of equitable value. There's a small RNG chance of looting rare and legendary items or crafting materials for mobs based on the level, status, and type of mob. This also applies to harvesting resources with a gathering profession. Legendary equipment is only dropped by legendary world bosses. And I think they also drop like legendary items so you can craft legendary items. Loot tables are disabled for player-controlled monsters. Experience debt decreases the drop rate percentage for monsters. So Missy, no dying. You know, actually, just think about that, Missy. If you keep dying in a boss battle, you ain't gonna get good loot. So this actually is built in. Wow. So they actually have a built-in system that if you ain't doing the fight right and you die, you ain't going to really get anything out of the boss. So you can't be carried. Wow. Way to go. I like that. That one's good. What do you guys think about that? That's literally a...
Well, that just eliminates the whole thing that we were talking about beforehand, about getting kicked out of the group if you're not carrying your weight. Mm-hmm. Not carrying your weight and dying, or probably not really participating too, is going to decrease your drop rate.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. So if you suck in a group, then you personally aren't going to get stuff.
Yeah. So that's good.
Perfect. Yeah. Because it's saying that the mobs and things too, nothing's going to change. So if you have less people, it's going to be a harder battle. If you have more, then you have an easier chance of it too.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to scale. The mobs and the bosses are not going to scale.
Well, they won't scale size, yeah. But if you're successful, so let's say you're successful with boss 1, successful with boss 2, that means boss 3 is probably going to be a BICTH.
Yeah.
So, and then if you get him down, then the 4th boss is just going to be stupid, you know. So.
But you don't have to go. Like, that's what it says in these dungeons too. You don't have to go all the way to the end of a dungeon. Actually, you can't.
Well, I mean,
you go as harder and harder.
Yeah, you go as far as you can push. And I think that's awesome, because that's even what like Torghast, right? We'll go to Shadowlands because we're pretty close to that thing. Torghast gets harder yet easier. You go up in levels and the floors. But you're gonna hit a point where you just hit a wall, right? And I think, and the only way to get into that wall is to leave that dungeon. But what sucks is when you come back to that dungeon, it could be different. There could be new bosses, and you have to re-kill everything back to get back to that point. So the replayability is really high in that sense. So that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yep.
All right, quickly, underwater dungeons. Underwater dungeons are part of Ash's Creation Naval content. All right, Zergs, Missy.
All right, Zergs. Zergs are empowered by fast travel. Meaningful travel times are intended to prevent Zerg play from being so much of an influence. Encounters are designed to have meaning in terms of how boss skills and abilities relate to group compositions, tactics, and strategies. Zerging is not experiencing content. Raid and dungeon bosses have specific mechanics that players need to learn and react to. Zergs that are not aware of these mechanics or react to them appropriately will be wiped. There is a give and take for guilds that want to see a larger number of members as opposed to a more focused group that may be a part of an alliance. We're very cognizant of the fact that we don't want to see Zerging be a mechanic that's utilized by guilds to accomplish content or just to steamroll over sieges. There are specific mechanics that we are working on that will be seen through the testing phases that relate to a degree of understanding of certain systems that can't just be overrun with numbers. Mechanics that encourage political intrigue will play a role in destabilizing Zergs. The best way that I found in games I played previously to take down a Zerg is to cause drama from within. It's that conflict inside of the politicking that happens in that big organization. If we provide opportunities for division to occur, then it is also provides stability to keep a server healthy away from that Zerg mentality too. If we approach the castle siege and we've destroyed the walls and we're in the throne room and we're about to cast on the penultimate thing, and I, at this time, am just so excited from what's happening that I'm like, screw it, I'm going to go for it. It's going to be mine. I'm going to take the taxes for the next month. I'm going to take all the gear from the castle. I'm going to take everything. We kind of want that political intrigue to be present in the game. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, that's what I was saying is I think, you know, just going back to the dungeon and the open world of it is they kind of want to, they're not going to stop player interaction and people doing things. It's like if you do things, like if you grief a player enough, you're just going to kind of, you know, make yourself really vulnerable. But they're not stopping it, right? They're not having to police it. The system itself punishes you over time. Yeah. So this is why I think a dungeon and loot tables, all that stuff, I think there's a probability that if you don't try to clear out that other party, they're gonna steal all your crap.
They don't need a moderator to be in games and looking at people, you know, ratting other people out and saying, you know, this guy's beating on me, and then you're taken to a cell and talked to by a game moderator.
Yep.
This eliminates the need for all that because you do nothing but hurt yourself. I like that.
Yeah.
So objective-based gameplay helps to balance the Zerg mentality. I always feel that if you balance based on groups, that in your balance focus is to incorporate features that play well from a player versus player perspective, as well as a player versus environment perspective. Having support classes, having DPS and tanks that can obstruct movement and or create, you know, bottlenecks on the field and stuff like that. I think a well-rounded raid, it will perform better against a non-well-rounded raid. However, then you incorporate the second aspect of numbers, and that's where, again, mobility, organization, leadership tactics. Having objectives and gameplay that make those important helps to balance the Zerg mentality that a lot of guilds can tend to have.
Yep.
Cool.
So leaderboards, there will be dungeon and raid leaderboards. Some leaderboards will be across all servers. It's pretty cool. Jumping mechanics. Woohoo! Those jumping puzzles. Jumping puzzles will occasionally be featured in the world. So that's cool. Yeah. Missy loves that.
Frickin' hate jumping puzzle.
Well, hey, as a mage, as you saw, you should have the ability to float. Should.
But is that going to matter? Or is that going to be allowed? It probably won't be allowed in jumping puzzles.
So jumping mechanics are present in the Alpha and Dunheim dungeon. So there's jumping.
Well.
Which I think... Yep, once this loads. Yep. Oh, wow. You see this, Missy?
What? Steven? GM Steven?
Well, see right in front of him? There's a big old gap right there.
You guys jump over the gap?
Yep.
That's not a jumping puzzle per se.
No, but jumping mechanics.
Yeah, that I'm okay with, jumping over something. It's those jumping puzzles where you have to land on things the right way. No, I don't like them.
So announcements/notifications. There will be a global server-wide announcement notifications of important events. Castle sieges, node sieges, legendary world boss spawns, monster coin events, dungeon opportunities. That's cool, dungeon opportunities. So hopefully, Missy, that'll be a way where you'll just join a party because it's like, oh, this dungeon is just something's happening here. We all need to group up. You go over there and you just say, hey, I'll join your party, and then you're good to go. So I think the ability to be able to be in a group should be relatively pretty easy to do.
Looks like it.
So, new citizens of a node may be announced in a dedicated node citizen chat channel. Election notices will be mailed to the accounts of citizens. Mailed ballots. Local node events such as caravans will be announced. These will rely on player word of mouth. Let's see here. Okay, so caravans. And I can see the why word of mouth, because caravans are going to be like, you got to protect this thing. And if you don't protect it and you lose your caravan, then you lose all that stuff. So, not good. Let's see, whether it be like a siege or a triggered event against a city or like a unique dungeon opportunity, those types of things are going to involve notifications, especially to the citizens of the city, where you'll be informed of an impending event. Basically, it will give you time. And then we'll kind of just go through these pictures here real quick. Well, doesn't actually. Let's see if these actually pop up. So it looks like this is a little dungeon artwork here. Well, these actually don't want to... Well, that's not cool. The other ones you could actually go through all of them.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, right. Let's see here. Okay. Well, that was dungeons for that. So we have another dungeon video. So this is Dunheim. So this is the other dungeon that is dwarven based. So we will go ahead and start this one. Here we go. What do you think of that, Missy?
There's a lot of detail in those dungeons.
Right.
They look pretty amazing.
Oh yeah. It definitely. Yeah, like I said, I that's what I love about the armor in this game, and even just. I mean, practically from. I mean, the way that they're doing this, I mean, you could practically almost say like, the graphics wise, like, WoW. You know, if WoW would actually go to Unreal Engine 4, this is practically what things would probably look like. But I don't know, WoW's always had that cartoonish look, right? And that's just kind of World of Warcraft, right? So,
The music is pretty amazing too.
Yeah,
in there.
I can't wait for. I just can't wait for this.
It makes you want to fight. Like it's kind of like.
Well, it's like Final Fantasy 14. I mean, the music in Final Fantasy 14. I mean.
Oh yeah, some of it's just like. It's like, let's go.
Well, the Nidhogg fight, I could just recall just from that. Like it starts off like the actual theme of Dragon Song, and then it just goes, whoop, you know, and it, you know, like it just.
Crescendos.
I mean, like, because it goes all, you know, you're fighting, and then it's quiet, and the way that they did it was beautiful because you saw Nidhogg on top of, you know, Race Valger, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of him, and it was just slow panning, and then you went after him and you were just fighting Nidhogg, and it was just like a regular boss battle. You killed the ads, and then everything just turned red, and then it was just like whoa-bam with like, and it was, yeah, things are just getting faster, and it's just happening, and you're just like, holy fuck, you know, you're just going all over the place. Yeah, it's, those are the sweaty palm, goosebump moments. Yep, this is a good thing.
I've already gotten goosebumps watching those videos.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
like, woo, my hair's raised on my arms. It's like, woo.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, what we're seeing right now is pre-alpha, alpha 1. I think technically we're now in alpha. Like, we are about to kick off alpha 1 next month, like, for, like, the people who really back this thing, right? Like, way back in the day. And I know right now they're just testing the systems, because if you can get the systems, like, working good, then polish and graphics and all that stuff can be added later on. As long as your systems are working, you're good to go, right? So